On Reddit, a woman shared her story about returning to work after surviving breast cancer. What she thought would be a fresh start turned into a nightmare of disbelief, accusations, and humiliation from the people she worked with every day. Here's her story. I survived breast cancer. I went through chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, and months of recovery. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but I made it through. I beat it. When I was cleared to go back to work, I was nervous but hopeful. I thought my coworkers would welcome me back. I thought they would understand what I had endured. I was completely wrong. The moment I walked through that door, I felt it. The stares, the whispers, the judgmental eyes following me everywhere I went. I tried to ignore it and just focus on doing my job, but it was impossible. And then the comments started. One coworker pulled me aside and asked me point blank, did I really have cancer? Or was I just making it up for attention? Another one said I had probably exaggerated how bad it was just to get a few months off work with pay. The insinuations were brutal. I could not believe what I was hearing. I had visible scars. I had lost all my hair. I had spent months in treatment. How could anyone possibly think I was lying about something this serious? But it did not stop. In fact, it got worse. My manager started implying that I looked too healthy to have actually been that sick. He would say things like, "You seem fine now," with this tone that suggested I had never really been that ill in the first place. My coworkers began avoiding me. Some of them made jokes about my illness when they thought I was not listening. I felt completely isolated. One day, I was sitting in a meeting with my entire team. We were discussing a project I was working on, and that is when one of my coworkers, someone I had actually considered a friend, stood up and said it out loud in front of everyone. She said she did not believe I had actually had cancer. She said I was faking it, that I was lying to get sympathy and special treatment. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at me, waiting to see how I would react. And in that moment, something inside me broke. I stood up slowly. I looked directly at her. I looked at my manager. I looked at every single person in that room. And without saying a single word, I lifted my shirt. There it was, the truth, my surgical scars, the marks from my treatment, the physical, undeniable evidence of what I had survived. The entire room went completely, absolutely silent. My coworker's face turned white. My manager looked away in shame. Everyone else just stared, unable to deny what was right in front of them. I pulled my shirt back down. I did not say anything. I did not need to. I just sat back down and continued the meeting like nothing had happened. But everything had changed in that instant. After that meeting, the comments stopped. The whispers disappeared. People started treating me like a human being again instead of a liar. But I knew the consequences were coming. I had crossed a line. I had done something that made people deeply uncomfortable, and I was not sure if I was going to pay the price for it. My HR department is aware of what happened. I do not know what comes next. I do not know if I am going to face repercussions for exposing myself in front of my coworkers. But here is what I do know. I was absolutely exhausted from being called a liar. I was tired of defending myself against people who questioned whether my cancer was even real. And sometimes, when words fail you, when people refuse to believe the truth even when it is obvious, you have to show them in a way they cannot deny. If you are going through something similar, if you are being doubted or disbelieved about your health or your experiences, know this. You do not owe anyone proof. You do not have to expose yourself, literally or figuratively, to make people believe you. But sometimes, the only way to make people understand is to show them exactly what they have been refusing to see. Thank you for listening to my story. If this story moved you, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this. And drop a comment below. Have you ever had to prove something about yourself that should have been obvious? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.